Why is it important to map the ocean floor? We can't drive a car there. Not everyone has a boat. What are some reasons why mapping the ocean floor is so important to oceanographers and the study of the ocean? Well, first of all, we need to safely navigate ocean waters, and this has been true for hundreds of years. Since boats began to navigate waters, the reality was that there were shallow places in the ocean, there were seamounts sticking up, and this would either cause a boat to be stuck, which would then cause the water to start filling the boat quickly, or crash and cause a wreck, perhaps into a seamount. So there were dangerous waters, there were dangers to traveling the ocean, and they needed to know where were the deepest parts of the ocean, where were the safest parts to navigate. And so before I talk to you about this image, which is what you learned about in the last video, I want to talk to you about the system that was used originally. So originally sailors would drop a rope, and the rope would have in increments knots tied. And so they would lower the rope into the water until they felt the rope thud to the bottom of the floor. And so they would then count how many knots were submerged into the water, and that would be the depth that they would describe the ocean to be by number of knots. Later, a more precise tool was invented called sonar. And so, as you'll see, the device is attached to a boat. It sends a high pitched noise out, just as if you would scream into a cave to see how large the cave was. You would hear your voice echo back. It's the same concept because the high pitched noises that were sent out from the device would then be sent back to the boat, and the device would calculate then how deep the waters are. And these boats traveling using sonar are scanning as they go to create maps. We can also use maps to monitor fish and other wildlife that gather in certain areas, because we know that volcanoes, for example, are places where a lot of things love to live. You'd be surprised. It's not uncommon to find a lot of living things near an active underwater volcano. But more importantly, healthy coral reefs should be growing taller, but unhealthy coral reefs shrink. So one way we use sonar and ocean floor maps is to monitor how healthy coral reefs are or how active volcanoes are, because obviously if they're erupting frequently, then they'll be higher and higher. Oceanographers, just as I described, they can monitor active underwater volcanoes in order to prepare for tsunamis. And I'd like to discuss tsunamis later, but it's important to know what's going on underwater because this can cause disasters on land. Another reason to monitor and keep current ocean maps is to be on the lookout for sunken boats, airplanes, or submarines. Whether you're a historian or a treasure hunter, many people are interested in finding what lies under those waters. But big money is in oil. And so people mine oil under the ocean. So this is called an oil rig, and a lot of people will work on it, but it has pipes way down in the bottom of the ocean floor, and that has to do again with some of that volcanic activity and some things that we'll study when we study rocks. But oil may not sound like it's very interesting to you, but the reason that big money is involved is because this can be made to heat homes, or this can be this. There's a lot of money, just billions of dollars in oil, and people are constantly looking for new places to mine oil. But in your thinking, you might like to know that between continents there are pipelines that carry cables for our internet. It's not just something in the air. There are communication cables, there are internet cables, and we can't exactly drape them across the sky. So there are actual pipes under the ocean. So it's important to have a map to know where to lay those pipes or to repair them, to know where to find what you need. So those are just some of the reasons why we map the ocean floor.